Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I am doing a mixed media piece, a very mixed media piece. I use quite a lot of different art media in this artwork. I'm doing a mixed media fan art of the new Taylor Swift video. I'm really loving the aesthetic of her new video, and I've been really inspired to create some art with it. The aesthetic is really nice, pastel-y, kind of whimsical, geeky pop, and I'm just in love with the video. I think I've watched the video about 100 times already, maybe even more than that. I can't even count, but yeah, I will leave a link to the video down below in case you haven't seen it, but it's pretty easy to find because it was trending most of the week. But yeah, I'm really in love with the aesthetic, and I was really inspired visually to create some artwork for it, so this is what I have done. So for the background, I used my markers and did a kind of almost galaxy effect. This is the bit of the video at the end where it's kind of raining rainbow rain, and she is in a long dress, but I haven't included that, and she has bits of blue at the end of her hair, and it's raining and it's kind of dark but also pastel. It's really quite hard to explain, so just go watch the video and you'll probably see what I mean. And I've also included the butterflies from the beginning, because in the beginning of the video there is a snake to symbolise the old Taylor Swift era, and it turns into a load of pastel butterflies, so I've included those. It's kind of to symbol a kind of a new era for her. And one of my favourite things about the video is that there is a cat, and she, in their kind of argument between the two of them, because it features the guy from Panic! At the Disco as well, he's trying to win her back, and he gives her all these gifts, and the only gift that wins her back is a cat. And this is relatable because I am a crazy cat lady that doesn't have any cats. And also the cat that she has in the video, she also bought and took home, the little kitten, because she fell in love with it, and I think that is super sweet and adorable. So yeah, and the cat is really cute. So now I am working on Taylor herself. I am using my markers as a base, and this is the technique that I did in my last video, my tips for using bullet nib markers. I did a video how to colour block with markers and then go over the top with pencil on mixed media paper. So I will leave a link to that if you want to find out a bit more about this technique. It was quite hard to do with skin tones, because the last video I did Nebula, and her skin is blue, so don't really have this problem, but I found it a lot harder to do with skin tones. So now I'm adding the blue at the bottom of her hair, because in the scene at the end of the video she has blue at the bottom of her hair, which looks really cool, and I really want to add blue in my hair, but I can't really do that because it means I have to bleach it first, which is very sad. Maybe I'll find a way of adding blue to the bottom of my hair, because I really like lots of colours, if you hadn't noticed. So I am using markers as a base, and I'm also using colour pencil to go in over the top of her face. I'm not using my new Polychromos pencils, I'm using my Prismacolor pencils because they are a bit softer and a bit easier to blend, and I thought they would go a bit better with this artwork. But I am using the white Polychromos to give the subtler highlights because of the lighting in this piece. So I'm using lots of colours, and I really took the opportunity to experiment with lots of different colours here. I used quite a lot of blue and purple and pink tones in the skin because the lighting kind of allowed for that, and it did make her blend into the background, or not quite blend into the background, but complement the background, because there's a lot of blues, greens and pinks there. And I'm just going over now with my Prismacolor pencils to do the streaks in the hair, but I'm not giving the hair a massive amount of detail, which is unusual because I do quite like giving hair quite a lot of detail, but I'm not doing that in this piece, and kind of suggesting the idea of hair, especially when it meets the lower part, when the lower part of the hair meets the body. I think sometimes you don't have to be quite precise, because in art it can be quite good to suggest things rather than do everything realistic, because this piece is semi-realistic. I was quite pleased of how the face does look like Taylor Swift. I think I've got the likeness quite well, and the anatomy is definitely improving, because that is one of my art goals this year. But then when it kind of goes down to the bottom, I suggested it to kind of make the face pop out. It's almost like it's slightly out of focus. I hope I'm making sense. I'm making sense in my head, but I'm not sure I always make sense in my voiceovers. So I'm using the light purple to give the shadows, because I think that works really well in skin. I love using purples in skin, and it's better than using a grey, I think, because you've got the slight hint of blue, especially with the colours that I'm using. So if you are new to my channel and you haven't watched any of my videos before, my name is Katie. I make art videos, I do speed paints like this, challenges, some product reviews, and I also have my own little mouse character called Charlie McNeil. I am interested in children's illustration, animal portraits, and some more experimental art a bit like this one, so do feel free to have a look round and hit the subscribe button if you like what you see, and also turn on notifications if you don't want to miss out on my future uploads, because YouTube doesn't always put videos into people's subscription boxes. And if you like this video, emotionally, do leave it a like down below, as that really does help me out. So for the rainbow droplets of rain, I'm not quite sure how to describe it. It's almost like someone's got some rainbow paint and they're just like throwing it around in the video. I am using the Prismacolors. I'm not putting a I'm not putting a base layer of markers underneath. I'm just using the Prismacolors and then blending them together, and the creaminess of the Prismacolors really does help in this, and it really does help to give a seamless blend. And I'm using the pastel colours, using pinks, a yellow, a light yellow, green and blue, and just blending them together. And I quite like how some of the colours are blending together. I like how the green blends into the pink, for example. And then I'm using my white gel pen just to outline them. I did use a bit more white gel pen than I normally would like to in this piece, but I think it works. I don't think it's overkill necessarily, because I have been known to overkill the white gel pen a few times, but I think it works here. And I'm also going back over the background in the darker shadows with my dark indigo Prismacolor. So for the butterflies, I'm using another medium. I'm using some acrylic paint, mixed a few colours with white to get the pastel tones, pastel greens, blues, oranges, pinks, to match the pastel butterflies in the video. And I'm just dabbing on the base layer and trying to get a little bit of texture in there, and I'm also going over it with white as well. You can see it a bit more clearly here. I am using a pastel green, and I'm using a very, very fancy palette of a bit of old packaging, because that's just how I roll. I don't have an acrylic palette. I maybe should invest in an acrylic palette, then I wouldn't have to use this kind of stuff. But I am recycling the plastic by using it as a palette, so that's good, because we need to recycle plastic. So I'm just finishing off the butterflies here. I'm doing a nice blue and pink one now, and I did this with all of them. I really tried to be patient and let the acrylic dry, and that is why I like acrylic, because it does dry quickly, so I can work back into it with other media if I want to. I am not very patient in letting things dry. If you've seen any of my watercolour videos, you will know this. You will know how impatient I am with art. So acrylics are my perfect paint because they dry quickly. I really want to try oil painting, but I'm really worried that I would just get so impatient with waiting for it to dry. So do let me know in the comments below whether you are a Taylor Swift fan like me. I really like her because I like her music, and I also like her videos. Like I said, the aesthetic of Me, the new single, is just really, really on point, and I just really love how visual her videos are. I love all the Easter eggs she includes. I love how she refers to Sesame Street in this video. One of these things is not like the others. It appeals to my inner child. Well, it's not so much an inner child, I am just a big child. And yeah, I really liked her video Delicate as well. That video is really, really clever. I really like how she's kind of invisible and she does all these silly and funny things, and the choreography in that video is just flawless. So do let me know if you're a Taylor Swift fan or if you're not a Taylor Swift fan, and let me know what your favourite song and what your favourite video is. I also like the video We Are Never Getting Back Together. That's a fun video. It's just very kind of geeky, poppy, although she had a bit of a recent not so geeky poppy phase, but she's coming back into that now, and that is just my aesthetic really. So yeah, let me know in the comments below if you like Taylor Swift. So now I am adding the details onto the butterflies, and I originally used my silver Prismacolor pencil to do the pattern on the butterflies, but it didn't quite stand out as much as I'd hoped, so I did end up adding on a bit of white gel pen and some of the blue, dark blue indigo Prismacolor pencil, and eventually I did add the black over the top, but I think it worked quite nicely with the mix of indigo, silver and black, so it's not just a harsh black, but it does make the butterflies stand out. And I did the butterflies coming out of the piece, if you see what I mean. I did some of the wings overlapping onto the white part of the paper. Again, not really explaining this very well, but I hope you see what I mean, because they are more in the foreground, like flying into the piece. And yeah, I had quite a lot of fun drawing the patterns on. I didn't do the same patterns on each one. I'd kind of used my imagination, looked up some references of butterflies, because again, I wanted to make them semi-realistic, although you don't really get pastel butterflies like this in the wild. Well, maybe you do. Let me know if you've seen pastel butterflies like this before. I'm not sure that you do, but never mind. And I forgot to mention at the beginning that I am using some mixed media paper. And this is my new favourite paper. I love mixed media paper, and I'm just using Hobbycraft mixed media paper. It's not a fancy brand or anything. And I really like how mixed media paper is, because you can blend markers on it, although it does soak up quite a lot of marker ink, so just be aware of that. But you can blend markers, and markers blend really nicely. You can use watercolour, you can use acrylic, you can use pencils, because there's quite a bit of tooth to the paper, and it is one of my new favourite things, and I'll definitely be investing in some more. The only thing I don't like about this pad is that it doesn't have a perforated edge on the spiral bound bit, so you can see at the edge of the paper on the far right of the paper, it's got the bit that I tore out of the sketchbook, and there isn't a perforated bit to get rid of this bit. Again, I'm not explaining myself very well, but you see what I mean, so you have to cut that off, and that just is a bit annoying to me, because I'm not very good at cutting out straight lines, but I tried my best. So once I had done the butterflies, I'm using the white gel pen to outline them to make them stand out. And again, this is not something I would normally do, because I feel like it's regressing a bit to my white gel pen face, but I think it works for this piece. And I like how the gel pen, it is opaque, but because of the mixed media aspects of it, it doesn't always look white, and I think that adds to the effect of the piece. Especially a bit later on, the butterfly on the bottom right corner, because I use some pink tones to shade the hair a little bit at the bottom there. It does show through the white gel pen, and I think that works quite well, so you kind of don't get the harshness, and it's a little bit experimental. So here you can see I am using the silver, and it isn't quite as pigmented as I thought it would be. It does have a nice sheen to it, but the butterflies don't stand out. And once I had finished the butterflies, once I had finished doing all of the detail and adding all of the shapes and highlights and shadows, I used some nail varnish, or is it nail polish? My friend Amanda told me that it is nail polish, not nail varnish, but I have called it nail varnish my entire life. So let me know in the comments below. I might even put a poll. Do you say nail varnish or do you say nail polish? Vote in the poll and let me know. But yeah, because I use the word nail varnish quite a lot in one of my videos, in my cassette tape video, and we found it quite funny, and then she told me that it was nail polish, not nail varnish. Sorry Amanda, I'm still going to say nail varnish. So I'm using some nail varnish to add bits of sparkle to the butterflies, just to make them stand out. And you can't really see it too well here because it's a clear nail varnish with some pastel-y, glittery, iridescent bits, because I thought that would go with the piece, and I'm just doing one layer over the butterflies. So you might have noticed that this video is a little bit longer than what I normally go for. I normally like to make my videos around 10 minutes because I've done some research, and apparently that is what the algorithm likes. But I've also had feedback from some people that they do like longer art videos. So I originally had the video about 20 minutes, and I did some questions on social media whether you wanted a longer video or not, and I got a bit of a mixed response. So I think I eventually cut it down to about 17 minutes, but I didn't want to cut it down any further because it just looked too fast and you didn't see all of the process, so that is what I went for. But do let me know whether you like longer art videos or whether you prefer the shorter ones. I know when I'm watching art videos it does depend, but I do usually like the shorter ones because I have a short attention span, which is probably part of my inner child coming out. But yeah, do let me know whether you like this longer video or whether you would prefer shorter ones. So I am just going over the butterflies with my Faber-Castell brush pen, the black just to make them stand out a bit more, because I didn't feel they stood out very much, and just to deepen some of the shadows in between the Rainbow Blob Rain stuff paint, whatever it is. So yeah, I don't normally like to use black, as you know, but I did use it in this piece, and I am coming around to the idea of using black for things that are black and to get some depth in, and I think it does make quite a lot of the artwork pop, and I think it does work really nicely for the butterflies and for the eyes of Taylor herself. So we are coming to the end of the video now. I am really pleased with how this piece turned out. I really tried to push myself and experiment with colour and experiment with composition, and also to improve my anatomy, and I am pleased with how it turned out. There are a few anatomy issues, as there always is in my artwork, but overall I am really pleased and I really like this piece, and I think it does reflect the video really well. I will show a close-up of the piece at the end of the video, just because you can't see the sparkly nail varnish in this angle. But yeah, that is all I have to say about the piece. There's not too much longer to go anyway. So that is all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next Thursday. Bye for now.